जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवर भावी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण धन्यवाद थैंक यू मैम
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to everyone.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Sindhu Mataji. Hare Krishna. So for the next 2 Saturdays, I will be taking the Bhagavad Gita class in place of Mataji. So I seek all of your blessings before I start. And I also would like to thank Ashish Prabhuji for giving me this opportunity. So I hope we can start today's class if all of you are ready. Yes?
Yes, sure, Mataji.
Yes. So I'm going to start with the opening prayers. Om Agnanaatimirandasya Gnananjalashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Nenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakaranagunantanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tipta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Panchakalpatarupesya Kripa Sindhupya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna everyone. So we're going to start our class today. I would just like all of you to let me know what Mataji had taught last week, like a small recap, so that because both the chapters are interlinked, both the shlokas are interlinked. So what was the shloka discussed last class and what was the essence of that shloka? Does anyone remember? You can all just feel free to say what you have remembered, even if it is a line or something. What was Mataji discussing in chapter 3?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'll just give it a try.
Yes, Mataji, please
chapter
do.
3, chapter 3, like we started with 4, 5, and 6 last class, I think.
Yes,
4, 5, 6. And it just started with Arjuna's inquiry, like, why do you want, Arjuna asking Krishna to engage me in this, this.
Yeah, you're right, Mataji. I think Mataji had discussed.
That first sloka question, right? So that
correct.
is asking. And then we saw the 3 parts of yoga process. That is Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So which is better? Like that Arjuna is asking, right?
Correct,
something like that we saw.
Yeah, correct.
And then...
so Mataji, I think she was mostly focused on 3.3, 4, and 5. So this class we have to discuss about 3.6, yeah? So basically, this chapter starts with Arjuna's confusion. So he's confused, right? He's like, why should I fight? Like, am I fighting? So as you can see on the screen, okay, why should I fight? Its self-realization is more important than enjoying the fruits of my work. So this is how the chapter starts, yeah? It starts with Arjuna's inquiry, and the whole chapter, actually, Krishna will be answering this inquiry, and he will be telling if Sankhya Yoga is better, Karma Yoga is better. So we discuss Nishkama Karma Yoga. So this goes on like this, yeah? So Krishna says, he says Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, which is better, yeah? Eventually, everything leads to Bhakti Yoga. But if Krishna, if he directly jumps into Bhakti Yoga, right, none of us will be like 100% convinced that Bhakti Yoga is the best, yeah? So Krishna is like luring us, okay, by telling all the yogas and then coming to Bhakti Yoga and saying that is the supreme and it is also the easiest, yeah? So this chapter mainly focuses about how Sankhya Yoga, how Karma Yoga is better than Sankhya Yoga, yeah? Rajalakshmi Mataji, would you like to read the shloka? Or Sindhu Mataji, anyone who is willing to read the shloka?
Yes, Mataji. Shloka number
Rajalakshmi
6.
Mataji. Yes, please.
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य या अस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते.
Yeah, Mataji, you can just read the translation as well.
Translation. One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. So as we saw the Sankhya philosophy, who proposed the Sankhya philosophy? Who was it? Who had got the Sankhya philosophy into the picture?
Kapila Dev,
Lord
Mataji.
Kapila Dev, Lord Kapila Dev.
Yeah, Lord Kapila, right? So this particular Sankhya Yoga was not meant for Kali Yuga, right? Is there any reason why it was not meant for Kali Yuga? So basically, Sankhya, the philosophy is basically understanding through knowledge, right? So back in those days, the knowledge was through Shruti and Smriti, yeah? So they used to listen and they used to like pass on this information. So it was kind of like the understanding from our guru and the parampara had been coming on. But there was a break of this parampara during the Treta and Dwapara Yuga. That's why Krishna again told the Bhagavad Gita, after he first mentioned it to like Vivaswan, he again told this to Ikshvaku, and then he again told this to Arjuna on the battlefield, right? So he re-established the principles and he again got this. So there is a part of Sankhya Yoga. So in this particular verse, we see how if one restrains the senses and if they're just doing it for the sake of doing and they're actually not controlling their senses, they are called as pretender. And we will see this in depth in the purport. Who would like to read the purport?
Can I read the purport, Mataji?
Yes, I think Jisha Sharma Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are many pretenders who refuse to work in Krishna consciousness but make a show of meditation while actually dwelling within the mind upon sense enjoyment. Such pretenders may also speak on dry philosophy in order to bluff sophisticated followers. But according to this verse, these are the greatest cheaters. For sense enjoyment, one can act in any capacity of the social order. But if one follows the rules and regulations of his particular status, he can make gradual progress in purifying his existence. But he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for the objects of sense gratification must be called the greatest cheater, even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy. His knowledge has no value because the effects of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord. Such a pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever. Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Srila Prabhupada says this, yeah, unless someone opens their mouth, we don't know if they're a gnani or not, yeah. So similarly in this verse, what Krishna says is that like there's no way all of us can control our senses. It's not possible because in this material body, there's no way we can like control the senses. But as discussed, I think in like 2 classes before, we cannot control our senses, but we can make sure that we engage our senses in doing Krishna conscious activities and like not expecting any result out of it, yeah. Especially Srila Prabhupada says though in this generation it is so hard to control the senses, what you can do is, if example, a person doesn't have to take Brahmanical order or sannyasi order in their life, yeah. If you can't control your senses, or if you're feeling urge of attraction, you can go to Grihastha ashrama. There's always option, yeah. And then later on you can go to Vanaprastha, and then you can take sannyasi. Like, there's so much order of our life, it's so well explained. So over here, as you can see in the slide, yeah, we see a yogi pretending, yeah. So we see this kind of like people a lot. They're pretenders. They're called pretenders. There are also a lot of sastric example given, especially in this time. There's no way all of us can sit, close our eyes, and go to that stage where we can meditate and not get like out of the picture. Can you all think of any example of any like scriptural examples of someone who faced partial distraction or something like that in terms of the shloka and this pretender? He's not a pretender, but he's taken as an example of how we cannot do Sankhya Yoga or meditation or something like that. Any idea anyone can think of? So I'll tell you. It was actually Vishwamitra Muni, right? He was a great sage, right? So he was a king, and he was one of the wonderful kings ever existing. But he took the like the sannyasi order, and he became yogi. But what happened in his meditation, okay, when Indra sent Menaka, for a split of second, he got distracted, right? So all he did was close his eyes. Only one senses was closed, but still his ears were hearing this beautiful voice of Menaka, and it kind of, for a split of second, he got, diverted. So the whole sadhana that he performed had been like kind of a waste, right, at the end. So such a great sage like Vishwamitra, we're not supposed to compare ourselves with them, okay? What we are trying to see over here is, such a great sage himself couldn't control his senses, then what speak of us mere humans, okay? So rather than taking up the order where we just close our eyes and just focus on knowledge, it's better you don't be a pretender. Srila Prabhupada says it's better if a sincere sweeper than a person who goes to Himalayas and just for the sake of doing meditation, they meditate. Nowadays it's become like a fashion where the young, just to escape the work, they just go to this kind of ashramas, they stay there, and after a while they're not able to deal with this life and they come back, right? So we're not supposed to be pretenders. Whatever we do, we have to do it with a sincere heart. Okay, this is what
sincere sweeper is better than the proverb, Mataji, you remember?
Yeah, sincere sweeper is better than a person who goes and like takes that sannyasi order and meditates, right? Like in Himalayas and everything. So we see a lot of people, we see agoras, right? If you actually go and see up there, if anyone has ever been to that Kedarnath and all those films, you see sometimes we can see that they're not 100% sincere, but we're not supposed to talk about them because they worship the Lord who is situated in tamasic guna, right? So that is different, whatever they're doing. But when we come into Krishna consciousness, it's like stage of pure goodness, sattvic guna. So we're supposed to behave accordingly, right? This is what the shloka says. A pretender is actually called this the greatest, cheater. Okay, so then this deep meditation and everything, it's better you choose which order of life is fit for you. It's brahmachari, take it up. Grihastha, take it up, and then you take up vanaprastha.
We have also seen this example in the second chapter, Vishwamitra Muni and Saubharya Muni.
Saugarya Muni, yeah, correct. See, we have so many people. See, these were munis back in Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga. What speak of Kali Yuga? We can't. There's no way we can do all this. Yeah, I think Umadevi Mataji, have any doubt?
No, Mataji. For reading, I have raised.
Okay, yeah. Next shloka you can read, Mataji. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Any doubts in this shloka? No. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. So as we saw the example of Vishwamitra Muni. Yeah, who wants to read the shloka?
Me, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, please. Umadevi Mataji, please.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Yasvindriyani manasa niyamyarabhaterjuna karmendriyai karmayogam asaktasya vishishyate. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, you can actually continue with the
purport. Sure.
Yes.
Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Instead of becoming a pseudo-transcendentalist for the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, It is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God. The prime Swartha Gati, our goal of self interest, is to reach Vishnu. The whole institution of Varna and Ashrama is designed to help us reach this goal of life. A householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. For self realization, one can live a controlled life as prescribed in the Shastras and continue carrying out his business without attachment and in that way make progress. Such a sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than the false pretender who adopts show battle spiritualism to cheat the innocent public. A sincere sweeper in the street is far better than the charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living. Hare Krishna
Sindhu
Mataji.
Mataji. I think Sindhu Mataji, you got the proverb, the saying. Yeah, a sincere
Yes,
sweeper in
Mataji.
the street is
Yeah.
far better than a charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living, right? So I think in one of the lectures, Srila Prabhupada says that initially, the people who beg, sometimes we see sadhus begging, right? So olden days, the Brahmanas used to go, not begging, but they used to go to like every house, knock and get food or something like that. That is basically to wash out our sins, yeah? But that was like that was like kind of interpreted wrong. And now we see all kind of beggars, and they do it only to make a living out of it. So we're not supposed to do this, yeah? We can see over here, Krishna is actually comparing a sannyasi, an attached sannyasi is like way worse than a detached householder. Yeah, so you can actually be a sannyasi who's like attached, but you can be a householder who is detached, and we can have the greatest example of who. I think it's in the picture. Can anyone guess who?
Bhaktivinoda Thakura.
Yeah, Bhaktivinoda Thakura. So from his life, it's actually one of the greatest examples. Yeah. So his life teaches us how he was a district, he was like a high court judge, right? And then his whole family was Krishna consciousness, and he wrote more than 100 books. But every day, from the morning till the time he sleeps, so he engages himself in his karma yoga, which is his duty, right? And then he also involves himself in bhakti yoga. So he did both. Okay, so his life, we can just see the schedule. Okay, how his day went by, and also we can see. So he only got 3 hours of sleep. Okay, and he used to write for 8.5 hours, and he used to do japa and study for 4.5 hours, and he used to work for 6 hours. So it's just saying you could be in any dharma, varna, ashrama dharma, okay? But if you really want to execute your duty, you can always do that, okay? So we'll just come back to the shloka. He says, on the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the senses, that is way better. So then you're automatically put in the karma yoga category, right? So you don't have to do anything. So over here, we see the shloka is a transition from Sankhya Yoga to Karma Yoga. So Krishna says over here that don't perform Sankhya Yoga. Just understanding is not enough. Yeah, if some people we see, right, they write books about Krishna or other gods, but they do it for a living. There's like barely anything that is true in it. That's why Srila Prabhupada said, Bhagavad Gita as it is. There is no interpretations of mine in this book, right? It is just as it is given by Krishna and my gurus to me. So so he is not doing this to make a living. Whereas we can see the Bhakti Vedanta Trust also, okay, they don't take extra expenses. They only charge the book for the printing cost, right? So that is actual, working in Karma Yoga in the right way. So this is an example we can see in this situation, yeah. So we can go to the next shloka. Who wants Sudha Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Pranams Mataji. You have a doubt or do you want to read?
No, I'm reading Mataji.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajayo hya karmanaha sharira yatra pichate na prasiddheta karmanaha. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. Should I continue with the purport, Mataji? Purport by His Divine
Yes,
Grace.
Mataji, you can.
Yeah, purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are many pseudo-meditators who misrepresent themselves as belonging to high parentage and great professional men who falsely pose that they have sacrificed everything for the sake of advancement in spiritual life. Lord Krishna did not want Arjuna to become a pretender. Rather, the Lord desired that Arjuna perform his prescribed duties as set forth for Kshatriyas. Arjuna was a householder and a military general, and therefore it was better for him to remain as such and perform his religious duties as prescribed for the householder Kshatriya. Such activities gradually cleanse the heart of a mundane man and free him from material contamination. So-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved by the Lord, nor by any religious scripture. After all, one has to maintain one's body and soul together by some work. Work should not be given up capriciously without purification of materialistic propensities. Anyone who is in the material world is certainly possessed of the impure propensity for lording it over material nature, or in other words, for sense gratification. Such polluted propensities have to be cleared. Without doing so through prescribed duties, one should never attempt to become a so-called transcendentalist, renouncing work and living at the cost of others. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So in this shloka, Krishna actually tells Arjuna that your prescribed duty as a Kshatriya is to fight, right? There's nothing else. If Krishna really wanted, okay, he could have sent Arjuna and, granted his wish of not killing like all his relatives, and Krishna could have actually killed everyone. He does have the power. He didn't do this because he's setting an example. Not only Krishna, whoever ascends as an avatar of Lord Vishnu, okay, or Lord Krishna, they always perform their duties perfectly, okay? Because we humans, we have a tendency to compare ourselves, with God. For example, we have this impersonalists or other people, atheists saying, Krishna had so many wives, why can't we? Or Krishna is that, Krishna is this. Then Srila Prabhupada says, like, then even Lord Shiva has, drank poison, so why don't you drink poison? So God has given us the intelligence. It's just that we just choose the wrong thing. Okay, we have the intelligence saying, okay, we shouldn't drink poison. Okay, but we do not have the intelligence saying or commenting on some other God with the same activity, right? So we all have to do. So over here they say prescribed duty is very important. And they also say that even if we don't work, okay, the body also it gets tired, right? Without working, there's no way the body moves. An example is Srila Prabhupada had introduced japa walk. I think how many of you know about japa walk? I think most of you should know, right? Japa walk. Yes, Inno Mataji. Do you know about japa walk?
Yes, Mataji, I've seen in the videos from 6 kilometers.
Yeah.
Yeah, something they walk.
So one cannot maintain one's physical body without work, right? So Srila Prabhupada, from the morning, from Mangala Arati, there's Japa, and then there's Bhagavatam class. Again, there's like Seva, where people go and cook for this. So there's no time to engage ourselves physically. So what Srila Prabhupada introduced was, in the Japa time, why don't we go and have a Japa walk? Okay, we'll walk around and we'll also talk. We'll have interactions in park. So he had introduced this very nice concept, and there's so many books and interviews that were taken when Prabhupada was in this walk. Okay, so he himself strived to give us this example, and even we can see so many of our Maharaj, like Radhanath Swami Maharaj, who goes on Japa walk, Loknath Swami Maharaj, who's still doing it. So they are following the legacy. So the same way, if we cannot even maintain this body without a work, yeah. So here Arjuna's work is to fight, right? So he has to do his duty. For example, what is our prescribed duty? As people born in Kali Yuga, all of us are Shudras, right? We are not Kshatriyas or anything. So what is our prescribed duty then? What are we meant? Why are we born in this world? What was Krishna's mercy? I mean, what was the prescribed duty he had given us? You can always guess. There's no right or wrong answer for this.
To do karma.
Chanting, Mataji, chanting.
To do karma. What karma should we be placing ourselves in? There's so many karmas, right? We can also be in the state of Nishkama karma is one way, yeah. Correct. Nishkama karma yoga, that's correct. Also, we were born, I think one of them said japa, right? True. See, we are very lucky. Even Srila Prabhupada himself says all of us are very lucky to be born in Kali Yuga. So, because it's much more easier. Our dharma is just to love Krishna. Nothing else. You do it in Seva Bhava. You do it in chanting. You can show it however you want. Okay, you can work and also think about Krishna constantly. But still, the whole point is us thinking about Krishna. That's it. It's as simple as that. I know it's hard. Dan saying it's hard to perform it, but this is the essence. Just love for Krishna. I think in NOD and in a book called Bhakti, Srila Rupa Goswami says the word love or the bhava or the rasa of love was created to love Krishna. But we have come to this material world and we're loving, like example, our kids, our partners or our friends or whatever so on called in every stage of life, that we actually forgot to love God. Most of them fear God or they do certain things as a norm for God, okay? But we're forgetting that the love was created to actually love God. So I think Rupa Goswami says it's our missing point. We're missing that one piece, right? So we have to come together and love God. That's all Krishna wants us, okay? He wants us to come back home, go back to Godhead. So that is our prescribed duty. We have to strive to go back home to Godhead, right? So for that, we have to perform what? Nishkama Karma Yoga, because all of us have karma, right? We all have to perform our duty. So hence that is the thing. So the same is explained over here. So prescribed duty has two things. One is renouncing and next is performing. So for example, Arjuna is a Kshatriya. Okay, so he has to engage himself in war and not renouncing and going to the forest. Right, so that was his duty. Next, who wants to read? Sindhu Mataji, yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pronounce Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sloka 3.9. Yajnatat karmano yatra loko yam karma bandhanaha tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Translation, this Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way, you will always remain free from bondage.
Mataji, I'll just quickly explain and then you can read the purport, yeah? So for example, if a soldier kills a person in the battlefield, okay, that's his karma, right? He has no attachment to the fellow person he's fighting with. So he's killing because it's his dharma as a soldier, he has to fight for the country. Whereas we can see a thief or someone for some kind of wealth or for kind of like snatching or something, he kind of kills a person, okay? So that doesn't come under karma yoga, right? He put himself in the place where he has to perform this kind of thing. So Prabhupada says, like, if you're attached to something, yeah, if you do something in that, then it is not karma yoga. Okay, it will never be karma yoga. So all we have to do is whatever we do, we have to do it as an offering to God, right? So when you're offering, for example, if the soldier says, okay, he prays saying, please forgive me for what I have done, Krishna will forgive him because it's the karma yoga. But if a thief goes and prays the same, Krishna will not do that, right? The same thing when we eat. Krishna says, if you're eating without offering it to me, you're incurring sins. You're eating sins, right? You're a thief, basically, because you're stealing the property of nature and you're not giving it to the person who has created this, which is me, like Krishna himself. So we are called thieves, or we are called people who are incurring sins by this way, okay? So, Mataji, you can read the purport. Can you see Mataji, Sindhu Mataji? Your mic is muted.
It's fine. I can read from the book also. I am talking like
Okay.
muted.
No worries. Yeah, you can read Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah. Since one has to work even for the simple maintenance of the body, the prescribed duties for a particular social position and quality are so made that that purpose can be fulfilled. Yajna means Lord Vishnu or sacrificial performances. All sacrificial performances also are meant for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. The Vedas enjoin Yajno vai Vishnu. In other words, the same purpose is served whether one performs prescribed yajnas or directly serves Lord Vishnu. Krishna consciousness is therefore performance of yajna as it is prescribed in this verse. The Varnashrama institution also aims at satisfying Lord Vishnu. Varnashramacharvata purushena parapyuman Vishnur aradyate. Vishnu Purana 3.8.8. Therefore, one has to work for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Any other work done in this material world will be a cause of bondage, for both good and evil work have their reactions, and any reaction binds the performer. Therefore, one has to work in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna or Vishnu. And while performing such activities, one is in a liberated stage. This is the great art of doing work, and in the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna, or under the direct instruction of Lord Krishna himself, under whom Arjuna had the opportunity to work. Nothing should be performed for sense gratification, but everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. This practice will not only save one from the reactions of work, but also gradually elevate one to the transcendental loving service of the Lord, which alone can raise one to the kingdom of God. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So till here we saw the first shloka is dealt with renunciation of work, yeah? And then from 3.3 till this shloka we see Nishkama Karma Yoga. But from here there's another transition. From here we see how Karma Kanda, from Karma Kanda how we go to complete Karma Yoga. Right? And we can see how Krishna says, under whom Arjuna had the opportunity to work. So Krishna actually gave Arjuna the opportunity to work and serve the duty, okay? Because obviously we all know from chapter 1 we have read that that day was very auspicious, you know. It was Moksha the Ekadasi day. So even though Arjuna kills all of them, they're ultimately going to go to Vaikuntha or the Swarga planet, okay? Because they attain moksha eventually. So even after saying all this, as Arjuna was still lamenting, thus Krishna had started this, yeah? So even for Arjuna, even as a Kshatriya, he is bound by some duties, right? He's bound by, he can only kill certain kind of people, right? So I think all of you have read the 6 types of aggressors, right? In chapter 1, if I'm not wrong. So these are 6 types of aggressors. Okay, the first one is a poison giver. The second one is the one who sets fire to the house. The third one is the one who attacks with deadly weapons. Fourth one, the one who plunders the riches. Fifth one, the one who occupies another land. And the sixth one is one who kidnaps a wife. So this is mentioned in chapter 1. So even as a Kshatriya, he was bound by this rule. Okay, he cannot kill anyone out of this box. And honestly, whoever he killed, okay, they all come under this. Okay, I think everyone can try to give an example for each category, right? So for example, a poison giver. Anyone you can think about? A poison giver.
Bhima was given poison, Mataji.
Yeah, Bhima was given poison, correct. Even Prahalad Maharaj,
Prahlad
he
Maharaj.
was given. Yeah, he was given poison, correct. Second one, who sets fire to the house?
For Pandavas,
The Kauravas set fire to the
The Pandavas, the sons of all the Pandavas, right? And who set it?
Kauravas set fire.
Duryodhana.
Duryodhana set.
Duryodhana, correct. Yes. And the third one who attacks with deadly weapons. Ashwathama, right? He launched Brahmastra, right, on Uttara. Such a big crime, right? He did. But even then, he was forgiven, right? So partially, if you think in that way, he was forgiven for that. The fourth one is the one who plunders riches. Who was it?
Again, Kauravas
The
Mataji.
Kauravas.
Again, in what situation did they do that? The dice game, right?
Yeah.
They planted, like they made the situation in such a way they knew that they're not going to be victorious. So they hence led them to this trap, right? So they can achieve the victory. So one who occupies another land, again the Kauravas, right? Hastinapur. Yeah. So it started with Dhritarashtra and even Duryodhana did the same thing, okay? The last one is one who kidnaps a wife.
Again,
Ravana.
the Kauravas to Draupadi.
Ravana.
Ravana.
Draupadi, was not kidnapped. Yeah, so I think we should take, I think Ravana and Bali. And Vali, he kidnapped his brother Sugriva's wife, no?
Sugriva's wife.
Yeah, exactly. So we see all of them. So all of them deserve to die. So even when Vali asks Lord Rama, why did you kill? One of the reasons was he committed one of these, he was one of the aggressors eventually. Though whatever Rama did from the way he killed might have been not the right way, but he did commit a crime to be killed, yeah? So even as a Kshatriya, okay, according to his Vara, the ashrama he is in, he has to only kill when they committed this kind of aggressors, okay? So the Kauravas totally deserved to be killed, okay? It's not like they didn't. Obviously, so Arjuna was motivated in the first chapter itself, okay, that these are the aggressors, so you have to kill. There's no way they have committed all these crimes as a whole. And can anyone think of any examples under this kind of, where we see, perform work as a sacrifice to Vishnu, or, work caused by this might create bondage? Any examples you can think? I know we talked about 6 aggressors, but if we don't perform work for the sacrifice of Vishnu, then it's not meant right for it. As we can see in this chat, right? If you do it for sense gratification, you will have Dehinosmin yatha dehi kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatra namoyati. Yeah. Repeated birth and death take place as mentioned in chapter 2, right? And if you do what you do and you put everything for Krishna and you do it for the sake of him, you will reach to the kingdom of Godhead. So there are two examples I would like to give. Okay, first one is Govardhan. Okay, example, I think all of us know, right? See, all of them are performing sacrifice, to do like worship Lord Indra, right? But Krishna stopped and he said, we have to worship Govardhan because he is the one who is giving us all the resources. Okay, and obviously Indra, he was very angry and he caused this devastating, rainfall over there, right? We can see over here that the people actually chose karma yoga, right? They're doing their karma, but they're doing it for Krishna, right? They listen to Krishna. Krishna was a very young boy. Nanda Maharaj didn't have to listen to him. Okay, see if like, for example, you guys, will you listen to a small child who's like 10 or like 8 years old or 7 years old? No, we won't, right? But over here it's Krishna's Leela, right? So he listened. So over here we say any action we perform for Krishna, he will take care. So like all of them took shelter under Govardhan and Krishna protected them. Not only that, Krishna had also given everyone an opportunity to serve him. For example, the cowherd boys were very happy that they got association in the morning. Okay, the gopis were happy that they got association in the night, right? But all of them were like, I'm not able to see Krishna 24/7. So for them, Krishna got this opportunity where for 7 straight days, they were able to see Krishna for 24/7 and serve him and everything, right? And the parents also had got the opportunity to feed him chap and bog, so many, bogas for him. The second example is the king who became a lizard. I think most of you should know this story, right? About King Nriga. He was the son of Ikshvaku. Okay, so what happened in Krishna book, we heard the story. So the story is very, very actually very important for us. Okay, so I will just tell the story and you guys should tell the verdict of the story. Okay, so what happens is King Nriga, he commits a small crime because of which he turns into a lizard. Okay, so Krishna sons spot this lizard in a well, and they will come and ask Krishna's help. And Krishna, as soon as he touches this lizard, the lizard will turn into a king. Okay, he was a king called Nriga. Okay, in his previous life, he was a great king. And he did some sacrifice and he wanted to offer a cow to a Brahmana. So the Brahmana took the cow and he went to his house. But what happened? The cow returned back to the Goshala. So in this process, what happened? Without knowing, the king again donated the cow to another Brahmana. Okay. Now what happens? The two Brahmanas come and they start fighting. It's my cow, and the argument goes on, and it goes on in front of the Maharaj. Now he says to the second Brahmana, please give up this cow. I will give you thousands of cows. Okay, but he's like, no, I need this one. The same goes with the first. So in this process, this keeps happening, and there's no conclusion coming. Eventually, when the king dies, he goes to Naraka. Okay, and there Yamadharma Raju will be like, you actually stole Brahmana's property, okay? So you will be turning into a lizard. Okay, now you tell me, the king had done so much of austerity, right? He did so many yagas, yajnas, he gave so much of sacrifice, but why was he given such a birth as a lizard? What was the thing that was missing in the story? What was that one missing point that the king couldn't notice? It was the thing that he did all this for not as an offering to Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. He did this because he was like, I'll give so many cows, I will do this. So I will be a prosperous and a well-known king and I will be in the history. So he did so much, okay, but nothing was offered to Vishnu or Krishna. So what is there was no meaning. Even if he had when giving the Brahmana, he would have offered saying, this cow is for, your thing. And I really wish Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna gives me the opportunity to do more. Then he would have had a second chance, like so many others, like Ajamila and everyone, right? But his situation is that he didn't think. So he was doing karma yoga with attachment, not with detachment, right? So this is a beautiful story that we hear. Any doubts so far? Or can we move on? We have one more shloka to go. So, okay, I'll just continue then. Okay, so till here we saw we'll just quickly go through the yoga, okay, ladder. So we first look into the progressive yoga ladder, yeah. From animal life, we are set to karma kanda, right? From karma kanda, we go to Sakama Karma Yoga. So here where devotees with material desires. So they are devotees, but they have material desires, right? So I think most of the Grahastha Ashrama will come under this if they perform with like material desires. Next is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Devotees with no desires for personal interest. Like the four regulative principles, the fourth one, okay, we have like the illicit sex, right? So you do it for progency only. You don't do it for self, like, for your self enjoyment. So this kind of, so now after Nishkama Karma Yoga, we will have Prema Bhakti or Bhava, which is basically Bhakti Yoga, right? All clear with this chat? So now we're going to move into, from Nishkama Yoga, we're going to move into Karma Kanda or Karma Yoga. Yes, who wants to read? Rajalakshmi Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You can read, Mataji.
सह यज्ञ प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापति अनेन प्रस्विष्यध्वम् एष वो स्तुष्टकामधुक्. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Who wants to read translation and purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, you can read.
Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation." Shall I continue, Mataji?
Mataji, yeah, you can read the purport also.
Yes. Yeah, I have to go down, I think. Yes. The material creation by the Lord of creatures, Vishnu, is a chance offered to the conditioned souls to come back to Godhead. All living entities within the material creation are conditioned by material nature because of their forgetfulness of their relationship to Vishnu or Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vedic principles are to help us understand this eternal relation as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedais cha sarver aham
Eva
Vedyo. The Lord says that the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Him. In the Vedic hymns, it is said, Patim Vishwasya Meshwaram. Therefore, the Lord of the living entities is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, also 2.4.20, Srila Sukadeva Goswami describes the Lord as Pati in so many ways. Shriya Patir, Yagnapati, Prajapatir, Tyayam Patir, Loka Patir, Dhara Patir, Pratir Gatis, Chandaka Varsni, Sattvaman, Sattvatvam, Prasiddhatam Me Bhagavan Satam Patihi. The Prajapati is Lord Vishnu and is the Lord of all living creatures, all worlds and all beauties, and all protector of everyone. The Lord created this material world to enable the conditioned souls to learn how to perform yajnas, sacrifices for the satisfaction of Vishnu, so that while in the material world they can live very comfortably without anxiety, and after finishing the present material body, they can enter into the kingdom of God. That is the whole program for the conditioned soul. By performance of yajna, the conditioned souls gradually become Krishna conscious and become godly in all respects. In the age of Kali, the Sankirtana Yajna, the chanting of names of God, is recommended by the Vedic scripture, and this transcendental system was introduced by Lord Chaitanya for the deliverance of all men in this age. Sankirtana Yajna and Krishna conscious go well together. Lord Krishna
just 1 second. I'll just explain and we can continue from here.
Yes, yes. Yes, sure.
Over here we have a lot of points, how to perform yajna or sacrifice. For example, like in Satya Yuga, the sacrifice was to do like meditation to achieve Vishnu. And then the next Yuga, it was yajna and yagas. And then it was deity worship and visiting temple. And right now it's Sankirtan yajna. So before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the mantra of Hare Krishna existed even before this, yeah. So it started with Hare Rama instead of Hare Krishna. So a lot of people have doubt. Okay, why are we putting Krishna, before then Rama? Does anyone know the answer for it? Why do we have like Krishna before Lord Rama? Because actually, if you go and see our scriptures, yeah, Rama is supposed to come first, right? And then we have Krishna. So this was done by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because in the other yugas, right, there was some norms to do meditation or japa. Right, they have to clean themselves. They're not supposed to use the washroom. So there were particular things. Example, women should have been pure, or even I think in that time women were not allowed to chant on beats. Right. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us the grace where he was like, I'm going to put Krishna first because he's a bit more lenient. Okay, Lord Rama, when you take his name first, okay, it is supposed to be done with particular rules and regulations. Okay, so when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave, he gave also we actually chant a mantra before we chant, right? We say what? Before we chant, we say a mantra.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Yeah.
Prabhu.
So
Nityananda.
the purpose of saying that mantra, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, is to take blessings of all of them. Okay, so before we say. So any kind of sins we actually even incur while chanting in terms of physical, like bodily cleanliness or something, they are there. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu puts Hare Krishna first. And then he says, okay, let us take Krishna's blessings because he's more merciful. It's not like Rama is not merciful, but the austerity done back in those areas were very strict. Okay, so over here we have Krishna's mercy and also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is also like Krishna himself, right? So we have their mercy. That's why we have this. And also in the end, we oversee over here, right? Lord Chaitanya, for the deliverance of all man in this age. So Sankirtan Yajna is very important for us. So that's why we have so many places where we hear, that we have like the Madhura Mahotsav, where we have so many kirtans and everything going on, okay, to just hear the nectarian, like the Maha Mantra by itself. Mataji, you can continue reading.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Sankirtana Yajna and
No, from
Krishna
here,
consciousness
Lord
go well
Krishna.
together. Lord Krishna in this devotional form as Lord Chaitanya is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam as follows, with special reference to the Sankirtana Yajna. Krishna Varnam Tvisarkashanam Sangopangastra Prasadam Yagnai Sankirtana prayer Yajanti Isu Medasaha. In this age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates by performance of Sankirtana Yajna. Bhagavatam 11.5.29. Other yajnas prescribed in these Vedic literatures are not easy to perform in this age of Kali, but the Sankirtana yajna is easy and sublime for all purposes.
As recommended in Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, 9.14 also.
Yes. So over here, so first of all, the main purpose of Lord Vishnu for creating us is he created men and demigods, okay, along with sacrifices. So why did he do that? Because he was giving us a chance for us conditional souls to go back to Godhead. We would have done something in Goloka, like example, like feelings like envy or jealousy, though it sounds very like surreal, but we had these kind of emotions which made us fall down to this position, right? So again, Krishna, though we had this kind of bhavas, he's giving us a second chance in our life. Okay, so all of us are Rajamilas already. We're given a second chance already. Okay, so hence we do our karma kanda and we're born as human beings after so many thousands of birth. Okay, so what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to fulfill the creation of like going back to Godhead. That's the only thing Krishna wants, nothing else, right? So that is the first point. The second thing is how to perform yajna. So not literal sense of yajna, but how to do the sankirtana in a proper way. For example, there are some benefits of doing yajna. Okay, it kind of brings us material happiness. If they're talking about the yajnas and yagas, we see people even nowadays doing it. We're not supposed to do it because we don't have qualified brahmanas who can perform this. Yeah, in Krishna book actually, not in Krishna book. I think in Srimad Bhagavatam, towards the last few chapters. he says that whoever Krishna didn't kill, the monsters who are left, the Rakshasas, they are actually born as Brahmanas, okay? So in this Janma. So this is what is said in Srimad Bhagavatam. So they are given a second chance to do austerity in this life. Okay, so that they are, because they at least saw Krishna during Dwapara Yuga, so they are born as Brahmanas to serve Krishna or serve like Lord Vishnu's deities or anything. So they are given such a beautiful opportunity. So from here we can see how merciful Krishna is, okay? So this was the purpose. So the Lord Vishnu's purpose was to make sure that we go back, and we have to do it with a pure heart. So for us, all we can do is chant. There's nothing else we can do this, because the cure for all people in this material world is just to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, nothing else. So over here we see, right, Lord Vishnu in the beginning of the creation provided men with all the necessities to live. So he's given us all the necessities. But we have to realize that this is Dukkhalayam Ashasvatam. We have to take Sankhya, where we learn, we take knowledge, but we don't utilize that knowledge for work, which is karma. Okay, we even if we do karma, we do it as an offering to Vishnu. So by doing all this, it can lead us to a stage where we will realize we have to go back to Godhead. It's not like when Krishna is telling this to Arjuna, he's just telling it to progress to Bhakti Yoga, but he's also telling we need all these aspects. We need Sankhya Yoga, which is knowledge, right? And we need Karma Yoga, because we all, at least to a certain age, we have to engage in duty, right? So we have to perform all this. And then when the time comes, you do Bhakti Yoga along with your Karma Yoga or your Gnana Yoga or your Dhyana Yoga, whatever it is. Dhyana Yoga is not recommended for this particular thing, but still. Yeah. Everything clear? This is the last slide for today's session. We will continue from 3.11 in the next session. Any doubts so far? You can always ask. Or is it clear?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you explain why in that Mahamantra Sri Rama, Rama Rama doesn't come in the first something you were telling? That Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
It's fine. I'll just repeat. So it's because the austerity is difficult when you take Lord Rama's name, right? You have to, you have to sit in you have to wake up in the Brahma Muhurta, sit on the Kusa grass, chant properly. And back in those days, women were not given the love, because women were considered Shudras, right? We were not given the luxury to chant on Tulasi or something on specific days, right? But whereas now in Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we said we can chant anytime, right? Throughout the day. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has put Krishna before because he's more merciful. It's not like Rama is not merciful, but the austerities done in Treta Yuga are different in comparison to Dwapara Yuga, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proposed like this. So hence we take their Maha Mantra, praying to them, and then we take the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's found in a lot of scriptures also. So you can, if you want, I can share the references. Any other questions? All clear? Happy? There's no doubts. So then we can end today's session and continue next class. But before that, if someone would like to summarize all the 4 verses we discussed, 3.6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 5, sorry. A small recap. Anyone would like to take up and summarize? What was 3.6 about? Chindu Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Sincere sweeper is better than a meditator.
A pretender.
And one who restrains the sense of action, but the mind is on the sense, sense objects is a pretender. We saw that example of a yogi you showed.
And what was the example we took for 3.6? Yes. Yes, we took Vishwamitra Muni's example for 3.6. Yes, correct. So 3.7 was?
3.7 about
translation from Sankhya Yoga to Karma Yoga.
Yeah, correct. Correct. That's also true. And also, if we control our active senses and begin a Karma Yoga without attachment, then that is better. And we took an example of?
Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
Yeah, correct. So Prabhupada basically said it's better like an attached sannyasi and a detached householder, basically. Which is better, an attached sannyasi or a detached household, or like a householder, right? And then the 3.8 was about? Krishna telling Arjuna to perform his duty, which is as a Kshatriya, he needs to fight. And we took the example how that one cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. And we took the example of the Japa walk here, how we in this particular Kali Yuga use that particular thing, yeah, even though we are in asadhana. And in 3.9, we spoke about
Work
One
done
has
for
to
the sake of
work in
yajna has to
one
be
has to work
performed.
in one has to work in Krishna conscious.
Jigisha Mataji.
If we work for sense gratification, we'll be under the repeated cycle of birth and death. But if we work for the satisfaction of Lord, we'll definitely go to Krishna's abode.
Perfect.
That
Yes,
we
Jigisha
saw
Mataji.
two examples.
Yeah,
Govardhana
same.
example you said and Harish.
Yes, Jigisha Mataji.
Yeah, same. One has to work in Krishna consciousness for Krishna.
Yeah,
Or
we took
Vishnu.
we took multiple examples. We saw how even though being a Kshatriya, there are like rules and regulations of six aggressors, on how to kill. We also saw how a soldier and a thief is placed in Karma Yoga. And we also saw example of Govardhana and King Mriga, okay, who is the son of Ikshvaku, who was given a birth of lizard in this life, right? And the final shloka we discussed was about
Yajnas.
Yajnas, right? And how Lord Vishnu created everything. What was the purpose of the creation? Which is basically to perform sacrifice to Lord Vishnu. So what are we doing? We sometimes do material sacrifices. Okay, saying I want a car, I want a house, and everything. We're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to even do that as an offering, because I think last class also I had mentioned whatever we do. Okay, sometimes Krishna rejects what we wish also, right? Because he knows what is best. And also Nitaya Sevani Mataji, I think most of you would have known, she told, if Lord granted all our wishes, right, we all would have been in grade 4 by now. Because all of us would have wished, oh, I don't want to go to school today, I don't want to attend exam and all this, right? So we would have stayed in 4th or 6th grade, okay, we wouldn't have progressed. So Mataji had told that Krishna actually knows what wishes to be granted and what has not, what shouldn't be granted. So hence devotees never ask for anything because Krishna knows the best, right? So hence we'll conclude our session with this and I will tell the ending prayers. Vancha kalpata rupasya kripa sindhubhyo evacha pathitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anandakoti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. See you all next Sunday at 4 p.m. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Mataji,
Hare
thank you.
Krishna
Thank you so much.
Mataji,
Krishna.
thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna. Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, the Naam